Out here at the start of the west property, doing some prospecting. This area has been recently logged. We're going to go take a look at a couple areas this afternoon and tomorrow and see what we can find. There's lots of logging going on here and below. Just taking a quick walk along this road. There's lots of samples with patches of iron pyrite, coarse iron pyrite, and a lot of this rock. Some of it's following the fractures here. There's lots of this all over the place. Got a little outcrop over here with some sulfides. We got some sulfides here. Disseminated. I don't see a whole lot other than disseminated iron pyrite, but this is only one small 100-meter section of road that we've checked out. It was recently built. On our way back down, we noticed this little area here with oxidation, and we hammered it open, and you can see there's massive sulfides. Similar to the area, you have pyrite, chalcopyrite. Looks like there might be a little sphalerite and pyrite in there. We are going to hammer a few samples off this before we head out. Look at that. Chipped off a bunch of pieces here. As you can see, it is massive. Here's the samples stacked up there and here. Not a bad little showing. We're going to expose this when we have a little bit more time. Last little sample from this area. We got 2 bags full here. Down here on the lower road where they just did some blasting, we're checking this out to see if anything new is exposed. We found a couple samples in the road here. Some outcrop here. Pretty difficult to see, but this area here is mineralized. Here is a sample just pulled out of there. some pyrite and chalcopyrite. It's actually semi-massive. So it looks like there's some kind of lens running down this way, so we're going to expose this a little bit and break out some samples. So this is massive sulfides. There's chalcopyrite in there and pyrite. And what it looks like is we have a 5 to 10 centimeter lens of this running back in here. It's exposed over about a meter. We're going to take a chip sample from here. Another piece here. We're on our third visit here, and we're just checking the remaining portions of the logging road that have been logged. Looks like they're logging this whole block right in between here. They're doing some logging up there. Somewhere along this road, there's going to be some mineralization going all the way from there to that exposed portion. All this road rock was taken from that little blasted out area. And we're finding samples that have chalcopyrite, quite a few samples like this all over the place. Pyrite and chalcopyrite. There's loads of samples. Massive sulfides here. This is mostly pyrite with some chalcopyrite. This is about the 30th sample we found just laying on the road. So, some nice massive sulfides in there. What it's looking like is this entire area where they blasted out all this rock has small little lenses, as well as disseminations and patches of iron pyrite and chalcopyrite. For instance, right here, there's lots of little areas. Like that. Some interesting mineralized samples all over here. Quite a few of these on the road. Mineralization in some of the outcrop here. Looks like there's a line coming from that outcrop of oxidation in the soil and rock here. A lot of mineralized rocks. Down over here, similar. We found a bunch of samples all up in here. A lot of this mineralization we're seeing on both of these outcrops here and there, we're finding in the middle of the road, breaking off some pieces of bedrock. These pieces here are bedrock, and there's lots of oxidation in the soils and on the rocks surrounding it. So we're going to hammer a bunch of these open. A couple pieces from bedrock here with pyrite, minor chalcopyrite. Looks like there's some kind of massive sulfide stringer zone cutting through the road, which is exposed on both upper and lower outcrop. So we're going to dig this out a bit. We found a big, massive hunk all in here of massive sulfides. Take a look at some of these. Pyrite, chalcopyrite. There's galena and sphalerite in there. These are the hunks we're pulling off. Look at how rusty these are. So here's a few samples that we're pulling out of the road, off the bedrock. So what we're seeing is mostly stringer sulfides, but there is a lens that's about 20 centimeters wide of massive sulfides. Here's a few samples from the lens. Massive pyrite, chalcopyrite, some magnetite, a little bit of sphalerite. And in a few samples, it looks like under magnification I can see galena in minor amounts. This is a outcrop chip sample, mostly iron pyrite. As is this. Here's some loose chunks that we found in the road of massive sulfides. This is where I can see some of the galena. More massive sulfides. Another sample, massive sulfides. You can see the difference here between your pyrite and your chalcopyrite, and pyrite. All this darker stuff in the back is magnetite. Using magnification, I can see that there's a lot of magnetite in these samples. And I would say some of the massive samples, magnetite makes up at least half of the mineralization. So that's it. That's the logging road. They didn't finish everything, so we'll still have more to search at a future date. But that's the majority of the logging road that we've covered that they recently blasted and made available to us. They're going to be logging all this upper treed section going all the way down the mountain. So we'll have that to search in a few weeks. That's it, guys. Take care.